When you studied for your master's program in a university like um, London Metropolitan, the basic principles which you studied, how useful is it in public sector management?
It actually, your basic qualification is very, very useful. Your academic qualification and professional qualification. I'm a SIMA also. So professional and academic qualification is very, very useful. So if not for financial knowledge that I have gained through CIMA and my academic qualification, I wouldn't have known, it would have been a normal operation in such a complicated operation, risk now, even currency risk at Sri Lanka at that moment, how to mitigate. It was a huge challenge. In that case, if you see in our finance, we have currency risk to be learned. Transactional risk, translational risk, economic risk, and all sort of things you have learned, but we never applied. Even in our private business, we would have applied here and there. But this is where the classic example, hedgings come, options, you use tools, you defer payment, delay payment, advance payment to get an advantage. For example, I would say, our interest rate was very high, right? Everybody knows, 25-30%. I managed to speak to some of the suppliers after agreeing to them. We are going to pay within a few days. I speak to them very, very friendlily, bring them to my office, sit together and speak to them, and humbly requested them to postpone the payment by 1 month. 1 month of 1 billion, for example, we are talking about 100 billion rupee deferment will earn huge amount of interest into my company. Then I came up with the different strategies. Now, for example, I told my team we have to run data driven. It should be a data driven operation. And now, for example, current our energy mix, when it comes to power generation, they use a lot of furnace oil, the fuel oil. So in that case also, we identified where to buy fuel, whether running refineries profitable or buying out is profitable. If we are refining, what are the crude, for example, what type of crude you need to bring in, at what time? For example, in certain period of time, we buy more furnace oil. So in that period, all these days, we used to buy one type of crude. I said, no, you bring another type of crude where we can produce more furnace. So that furnace alone importation cost will come down. So these are the strategies that because of why I learned, the processes, we came up with SOP. We learn a lot from ERP. I actually, in fact, from ERP also, best business practices in building into the system, putting into a system was one of the key challenges. Actually, I might have it in my WhatsApp. I will show you now. And we became one of the best innovative company, CPC. No one believed to come up with something called modality. When I wanted to bring down fuel, we never had sufficient fund. What we did was, we came up with something called X-storage modality. X-storage. That means you bring the fuel to Sri Lanka, you use my storage and store it. What I will pledge, I will mortgage the fuel to you, bonded warehousing facility. When I want to buy, I want to use it, I pay and buy. With that, when Sri Lanka was struggling to bring $1, we managed to bring almost 200 million worth of fuel into this country without paying a single cent. Whereas suppliers, when I started, their suppliers don't want to come. Eventually, we managed 200 million worth of stock without paying a cent. Even government couldn't do it at that moment. So that is because of innovation and what you learn. You learn, and how you present yourself. Actually, marketing comes to, marketing was a great help. We present ourselves. Every presentation, before I speak to supplier, I speak to my team. This is how we are going to talk about it, because our company also had some officials very rigid. Red tape. Government organization has red tape, so they are being bound by the procedures and policies. They don't want to bend it little bit for the benefit of the company. In that type of environment, it was very, very difficult. Your humbleness, you have to have knowledge, but you have to be very humble, very cool and calm when under that type of pressure. So we managed to pull through. Learning have become actually financial learning was very, very useful. In the meantime, operation and how to manage people. We had, Sri Lanka's most powerful union is in Petroleum Corporation. You would have known that. Most powerful union is in Petroleum Corporation. Every time union used to come and, surround us, thousands of people. So I have a video. I am talking to them also, told them, look here, you can surround us, but we won't get a solution. We want to get a solution. For example, for 3 months, our refinery was closed down without proper sufficient supply of crude oil. But we managed to speak to suppliers. We came up with this modality. I lined up almost 9 shipments, and then we started our refinery, which was opening and closing, opening and closing. Now, since then, for last year or so, almost about 7-8 months, we are keep on running the refinery without any hitches, and we will be closing for a small maintenance work. Other than that, it will be continuing. That is all we learn from these MBAs, this degree and CIMA. These are very, very helpful. But whatever you learn, you have to be, like I learned from Mr. Rohanta, very humble and very, very, very positive personality. It will will become very handy. Sri Lanka has sufficient enough and more qualified people, but our attitude, we are not actually, some of the suppliers during the crisis time helped us enormously, but unfortunately, we can't help them back because of our rules and regulation, because of our attitude. Even Pakistani, we met with one of the Pakistani ambassadors. He said, when Sri Lanka was in difficulty, we are the country who used to come and support you all. But in UN, you all voted against us. You see, we have to be grateful as you can learn, you can earn, you can get to any position. As a nation, Sri Lankans need to be more grateful to people, so that Sri Lanka will get where we supposed to be.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to yet another MBA Diary session. Today, we have quite an interesting topic, the story behind the QR code. So to introduce our speaker for this evening, I'd like to welcome Dr. Rohan Tatukorala, the pioneer behind the MBA Diary series. Doctor, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ruth. And today is a very special day for me. Someone whom I have seen grow, a very, very strongly result-driven, high-level professional with 2 decades of experience, both internationally and locally. He started his career in UK as a general manager for London College of Business in Essex, and then moved to Sri Lanka to manage the ERP and the finance at one of the top companies in Sri Lanka, Expo Lanka Holdings Limited. And then he moved as the head of ERP and business intelligence at Aberdeen Holdings Limited, and currently is the director strategic business development at Brantel Lanka Private Limited. Due to his passion to serve the country, he was appointed by the current government as the chairman managing director of Ceylon Petroleum storage terminal, as well as is, of course, the chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, one of the top blue chip SOEs in Sri Lanka. And of course, it's a very, very high profile hot seat to be in. Academically, a graduate of business administration honors from the University of London Metropolitan, UK. He also has a business administration from the International University of America. He reads for the Masters in Business Administration at the University of Wales, UK, and a Director of the National Apprentice and Industrial Training Authority, NITA, and a founder advisory member of the Sri Lanka Youth Parliament. He has a passion for supporting startups and small businesses in the member of the World Youth Conference Organizing Committee. He has served as chairman of the ERP Steering Committee of the Ministry of Energy. Ladies and gentlemen, someone whom I have a lot of respect for. I've seen him grown, the chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, chairman managing director of the Ceylon Petroleum Storage Terminals Limited, Mohamed Mohamed. Over to you, Uvais.
Thank you, Doctor. Actually, a very special day. As a first professional qualification, I entered into CIMA. During my CIMA career, we had in stage foundation level marketing. Mr. Rohantha, Dr. Rohantha, at that time he was Mr. Rohantha, he has become Dr. Rohantha, evolved to Dr. Rohantha. He was one of our favorite teachers who actually inspired us to pursue our career in management and marketing and the finance. Thank you very much, Doctor. You have seen me from for last 22 years. You know how I have grown, and thank you very much. As and when we need some support, some guidance, we always talk to you, and you have been very open and honest, and always given the right advice as to be who we are today. And thank you very much. You know, I can remember from the basically in marketing 4P. Yeah, you know, I learned from you. That is one of the great things which I've learned, and I have applied many places successfully. Some business I have established from zero, very zero, and some business I have worked from the middle. Some business actually, as you know, I'm in the top level. I have entered into the game, one of the most difficult of time in the country. And thank you very much, Doctor.
Chairman, we have, I like to just go back now and play the situation that we were in. Ruth, would you mind playing it?
10 situations reported near filling stations in several areas both today and yesterday as fuel stocks ran out in stations. One such situation was reported near a filling station in Veerakatia, and police arrived at the location to control the situation, where 3 people were taken into custody. In the meantime, 2 men who were waiting in fuel queues died today. One of the deceased was a 59-year-old who was waiting in queue in Kinnia, while the other was a 64-year-old who died in a queue at a filling station in Palavatta.
So this was where it was before, and then Chairman, over to you, and then we will tell us at the appropriate time we like to share the innovation. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Now, as all of you saw now, we would have forgotten last year by this time we were going through this challenging challenges, where I was at Petroleum Storage as the chairman and MD. 2021 December, I actually resigned from there due to various reasons. Then by 2022 April, this crisis hit. Sri Lanka was like, you know, became very famous around the world because of our queues. And we innovated queues, basically, different type of queues, you know, you name fuel to gas to even for food. During this time, former president once called me to take over Litrogas. Litrogas, you know, one of the big issue at that moment. And I was not happy to take over due to various reasons. And then the harbor was in discussion. Then comes our minister. Initially, they wanted me to take over petrol storage terminal again, and then I said no need, I have been there, so I can support from out, because end of the day what matters is giving solution. I don't need to be there. So I was even without any post or position, I went there, and I actually in fact sat there for a few days and supported to streamline the distribution process. However, as the time goes by, within like end of July, for present, my minister, Honorable Kanchana Wijesekara, gave me a call and said, Mohammed, would you like to take over Sri Lankan Petroleum? I said, sir, give me a few days. I'll get back to you. Then, honestly speaking, I didn't want to take, but I still wanted to do something for the country. Then I said, I'm willing to do even without any post or position. But he was telling Mohammed, better you take over. Then the former president also wanted me to take over. Then my son, my elder son, was telling Dad, people are dying in the queue, and you have been in this industry. Why not you take over and try to do what is possible and do your best. That day I thought, now time that I should take over and I should run. And then as I went in, none of the suppliers are participating for tenders in our petroleum corporation. Almost for 13 tenders, none of the suppliers have participated, because the reason being, we had almost 800 million USD outstanding for those about seven of suppliers. So without paying them, they don't want to come in. So we are not in a position to pay either. You may know we had a foreign currency crisis. Then at that time, I spoke to minister. I said, we got to speak to all our previous suppliers. Then we started to bring them one by one and speak to them personally. Then we minister, with the minister's blessing, we inform the president, you look here, we need to give them, if we can't pay, even if we can't pay now, but we need to give them the confidence that we are going to pay. Then we went and met with almost 9 cabinet ministers and the president, with all these suppliers one by one. Then we gave them that confidence that, we are a country, we will never default. We are in a difficult time. You all have been working with us for more than 20 to 25 years. This is a time you need to pitch in and support and, work with us. Then they were still, they are commercially driven organization. Their prime objective is to maximize profit, as we all learned as an MBA student. And they were reluctant. They were saying that I need some guarantees. Then we went and spoke to Central Bank Governor, Mr. Nandalal, and we gave them central bank guarantees saying that we will pay you. Then we gave them a payment plan. Then they got little confidence. Market realized that our intention to pay was there. But we were not able to pay. So what we decided was, and it was a tough time. As I went in, you would have witnessed, there was no fuel in the country. We had about petrol, which is sufficient for almost, if same capacity, if we would have distributed, it would have been sufficient for only 1 or 2 days, and the diesel almost for 3 days. Then honorable ministers, with honorable ministers' blessing, we managed to get a approval from the cabinet of ministers to entertain unsolicited proposals. That is mean, without the tender process, anybody to come and give us proposals. About 700 proposals came in. Everybody, you would have learned in the media that they were saying we can provide you 30% less than the present purchasing price. We gave all of them the opportunity to supply, but none of them turned up. Fortunately, few of registered suppliers, they gave us some offers, and we managed to bring them in. In the meantime, we told some of the suppliers, look here, if you supply us, every shipment, we will give you $5 to $10 million of your previous outstanding, right? So 2 suppliers agreed to that. And they now, every time if a shipment is about, we'll say our country situation, I just wanted to tell you all, our country situation, we were in a very, very bad condition. Our country have been downgraded, banks have been downgraded. So we told them, we will pay you in TT. For example, if a shipment is 40 million USD, we have to pay them 50 million, because this is from their previous outstanding 10 million, plus Plus we have to keep a deposit of another 10 to 15 million as a security. In case they come, if we don't take on time the shipment, demurrages that they are going to pay, delay charges that they are going to pay, we need to finance them. So, for example, in that case, a shipment of 30 million, I can remember one of the shipment which is worth about 35 million. I have to keep almost 74 million to get that shipment in. That is historically highest amount of premium we normally pay. We call it premium. $35 per barrel we paid, highest amount of premium ever paid by any country in the world, which I was reluctant. Minister also was reluctant, but we are not in a position to keep country dry, country without fuel. So that we got to pay, and we took that first shipment. With that shipment, we started to slowly people started to trust us. Everybody we gave 5 million extra for their whole shipment for set off against their previous outstanding. Then shipment fuel started flowing. But though fuel started flowing, people were in the queue. Then I realized where the problem is. Then I have become the chairman of CPC. Problem was distribution. We are distributing now. For example, if you have 1,000, we have 1,200 petrol shed. Out of 1,200 petrol shed, we are planning to send it today, for example, 500 petrol shed to be filled with. But unfortunately, with the support of some of the staff inside, some people get about 5 loads, whereas some people only get 1 load. Whereas other people have put money about 2 weeks ago, they never got a load. Instead, our people internally, for some benefit, they have given to one person 10 load. So if you go, even if present situation, if you do the same thing, there will be a queue in other areas. So then what I did was we took over total distribution and the sales into our hand. 1,200 petrol shed, they can deposit money for the loads, but distribution is decided by us. Distribution decided by chairman's office. I have to sign and give. Today, we broke, then we decided to break this 1,200 into 4 batches. If today for batch A, batch B, and batch C, if I give today all the batch C should be delivered. Then the second one is tomorrow, second batch, batch B. The day after tomorrow, batch C. So that we made sure, based on an area, for example, in an area where there are 3 petrol sheds, at least 1 fuel station will have sufficient fuel without any sufficient fuel to run that area's vehicle with a minimum quantity which we are planning to give, only 20 liters per car. So this is where now the problem arises with the QR. You are asking how QR evolved. Now the problem, now initially I had a problem with our staff where they are giving their favorites the higher loads, and whereas the most needed places they don't give loads because of internal and other benefits that they are getting. In the meantime, now though we send it to petrol shed, right, petrol fuel stations, those fuel station pumpers or the fuel station workers, they used to get more money and give more than 20 liters and whatever for their benefit. You know what I mean? All of us went through. For their personal benefit, they gave without limits, whereas Q been remaining the same. Without Q is not reducing. Then we were coming up with different methods. We gave tokens. That also failed. We gave last digit of the vehicle. That also failed. Then we came up with another, electronic system. That is also failed. Then we were working on, we put tri-forces, Army, Police, and Navy together. You would have seen whole Sri Lankan forces were in fuel stations. That also failed. Then this incident which you show, while the fully security was provided, people were like killing each other. This is what the situation is. Then I actually I'm little coming from a IT background as well, and then I also have built my own business through QR. I thought of, why not we provide a solution? Then I spoke to Dialogue. Dialogue, you would have known, in the business community might know, and the people are working in big firms. Dialogue has their own fuel card. That fuel card, actually, you to buy the fuel card, initially company has to pay about 1,000 rupees. Then that fuel card can be only working in their own machines. Then I went and spoke to Dialogue, and I went and saw their petrol shed in front of Nelum Pokuna, which is IOC owned one. And I asked them whether they can provide me the same solution for at least 500 fuel station. They said, no, sir, we only have 250 fuel station with this machine. And even if you have to give about 5 million card, it will take some time. Per card, I have to charge 300 to 500 rupees. Then I said, look here, this is not the right time to me to go and tell public, pay 500 rupees each per card. Aragale will come to my house. So they realized. Then I was working and we were thinking what to do. Then I said, why not QR? Then we had a QR or QR. Then we were thinking how to come up with the QR solution. Then we decided to work with 3 other companies. Dialogue was the main party. Then Sri Lanka's top IT companies are there. You would have known MIT. MIT is the one who built the stock exchange software, which is running in London. And then Virtusa, then DMS, few companies we listed. Then we spoke to ICTA. Chairman was very close to me at that time, Mr. Jayanta. Spoke to ICTA, and we had a collaboration between government agencies as well as the private companies to come up with a better solution to serve the nation. That was the key. We managed to, if we are to go as a government organization, we would have failed miserably, because approval, to take an approval, it would have taken more than 6 months. So since the private sector is involved, they don't consume that much of time. So MIT managed to come up with the software. Dialogue managed to host it for us. Coordination and collaboration, everything used to be done by our the ICTA. Then our Honorable Minister took the lead, and actually as a young minister, always looking for innovative solution. Actually, this is where the manager, like I would say, any MBA students who are here, definitely will be working for you or otherwise working for someone. And the managers have to be solution-driven people. If there is a problem, there always will be a solution. When I took over also, I was thinking, one day I was thinking, have I taken the post at wrong time, at wrong place? But still I believe, no, God wouldn't have given me this challenge if I can't handle it. So any challenges you face, you should be able to handle it. So I believed in that sentiment, and actually I went on to take over, and then we managed to come up with this solution. You would have seen our minister took the lead as a young leader, up and coming young leader, took the lead within very short period, very, very short period. Within a month, we managed to crack this and come out and actually managed to implement it. When implementing also, this became a challenging task. How the people management come into play. Actually, you would have learned these shed, who are working in the pumpers are not that IT savvy. So in the meantime, they were using very small mobile and very few. If you taken only 20% using 20 to 25% using the sophisticated phones, all the others are using very basic phones. So we spoke to all the shed owners, we brought them, and we said at least minimum give them one mobile device where they can use this QR. You know, they at that moment we spoke to all the people, and then we introduced some of the suppliers to go and speak to this fuel station. All of them bought minimum one phone. Then how to train them? You know, the challenges that you one after another you face. We have altogether almost 2,000 staff in our company, out of which marketing department will have only about 250. 1,250 fuel station, including IOC about 1,500. So how are we going to train? This is where, you know, your experience and your network and your thing is coming to play. That is what very important. I used to be at youth, Sri Lankan youth, and NITA. And in the meantime, minister directly spoke to the sports and the youth minister and got their support to come and implement from the youth clubs. Those boys came and we trained them with the dialogue's help. With dialogue, we send these people across the country. Every fuel station you would have seen that initial days, about 10 youngsters were there. So these people only went and showed these pumpers how to do the QR, and we did it for about 25. It was successful. Then we within week we implemented around the whole country without any fuel station. Then after that also they were not obeying by the rules and regulation. Then we need to come up with a policy. At least 95%, initially 95% of the fuel which we are distributing need to be sold through QR system. If that fails, we will punish them. So we can show that video which we have. Ruth, you can show that video which we launched the QR code.
All you want to know on how to use the National Fuel Pass. It's easy and efficient. Let's get started. As a first-time user, visit the Fuel Quota Management portal available on fuelpass.gov.lk. Click Register. Now enter your NIC number and the mobile number. You can also use your passport number or the business registration number if you are unable to provide your NIC. Once you provide your mobile number, you will receive an OTP to the given mobile number for verification purposes. Now, enter the OTP number and click Verify. Then, add your first name, last name, as well as your address. Click Next to continue. And now, provide your vehicle details by adding your vehicle number, vehicle type, chassis number, and also fuel type. Once you're done, don't forget to provide your consent to the terms and conditions by ticking this box. To continue, press the register button and your QR code will be displayed on the screen. As your registration is now successful, your eligible fuel quota and the remaining balance will also be visible here along with the date of quota expiry. It is important to know that the QR displayed here is uniquely assigned to your vehicle and you should present this QR to the fuel station when obtaining the service. Therefore, click Download QR to have it as an image file. If you're a smartphone user, you can take a screenshot of the original QR and present it at the fuel station. If you're a non-smartphone user, you may take a printout and present it to the fuel station. If you have visited the web portal through a PC and wish to get the QR directly to your mobile, click the Send QR to my mobile option. Don't forget to check your fuel quota balance, type fuel space BAL space your vehicle number and send it to 0766 22 0000. If you wish to obtain your QR at any time, you can simply visit fuelpass.gov.lk and log in with your mobile number. Or send a SMS by typing fuel space QR space your vehicle number and send it to 0766 22 0000.
Thank you. So basically, this is where, you can be a part of a problem or part of a solution. So I always wanted to be a part of solution. I think all the students who are into MBA, they want to provide solution, because Sri Lanka as a nation, full of talented people. It's all about execution. I think this is where the problem comes. Right leadership. I would like to thank take this opportunity to thank our minister. He's young, energetic, always driven by solution, providing solution. So if not for him at that seat, this is where the management comes into play. If not for him in that seat, during this interim period, it was challenging. We are not sure whether it will be successful or not. I'm not sure, because we are going to try for almost 6.5 million users. We were not sure. During that challenging period, we will have nitty-gritties, teething issues. That time, if not for this minister, we would have given up. We would have given up, easily given up. So steadfastness, focus, and perseverance. He been pushing, and as being a cabinet minister, he used to call at about midnight, 12 to 1 o'clock in the morning, and make sure that these things are moving. And I also would love that type of support and the push, so that easy to implement it. Even me to implement it, if not for that leadership, it would have been, we would have given up in the middle. So that is where the leadership comes. Actually, as a manager, when you are planning, plan it during the interim. We always come up with, even in organization, we always come up with new projects. During the project, change management comes into play. During the change management, you will come a situation where you don't know whether this will be successful or not, but give your 100%. Even if you fail, we failed in several attempts to solve this, but even if you fail, you learn from it. You learn, and then you implement the right thing. This is what actually I learned from this whole operation. Right leadership, your commitment, you can achieve anything. You can achieve anything. Unbelievably, no one, I have been from IT fraternity. When I shared this thing in my Facebook, one of my knowledgeable IT person, he said, this is going to fail. Simple as that. There is a lot of this thing. The summary was, this is going to fail. When a person of that caliber says that, is going to fail, I was little worrying, but still our ultimate objective to provide solution to the country, solution to the suffering people. So we came up, we managed to pull through this with the help of, everybody, lot of people involved. Even my company, I think Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, was targeted as one of the companies which is not productive enough. All these my fellow colleagues worked tirelessly overnight. We used to work. I used to go to office by 8. By normally we come at about 12 o'clock. Next day back again, and throughout about 2 months we worked truly really hard. Because of that, we managed to come out this, and then we came up with the procedures. As every project to be successful, you need to have the rules, regulation, and processes and procedures in place. When the procedures, you need to, we said every company, every fuel station need to be complying with our QR. If anybody not complying with it, we will be punishing them. Punishing in the sense, basically blacklisting them. We did for 1 or 2, so that everybody fell in place. Then we came up with QR, utilization of QR more than 80%. Then people who didn't comply, we punish them. We actually didn't give them fuel for 1 or 2 weeks, so that they are sacrificing their revenue or their earnings, so that they complied with us. So eventually, at the latter part, almost all the fuel station complied with our rules and regulation, and we managed to handle it very well. Recently, you would have seen in the first of this month, we release we no more QR. So to come to that level, and as a nation, we had a big issue. When I took over in this company, we didn't have $100,000, right? We didn't have $100,000 to pay a shipment. And because of that, I had to delay the shipment for another 2-3 days, whereas I had to pay a penalty called demurrage penalty for about 200,000 and only release the shipment. That is the situation. At that time, we had a financial, you would have seen, we were issuing fuel, selling fuel at a discounted rate, whereas we buy for 100 and sell it for 50 rupees. Then when I went and asked working capital, we don't have dollar. Yeah, well-known fact. Then I said, where is rupee? We don't have rupee either. Then how to run this business? We don't have working capital. Then, in fact, we had a discussion with Treasury Secretary, then with the present president, and I went and asked for 200 billion. Then he said 200 billion is too much. They gave us minister, and we got together and got about 100 billion revolving loan from BOC. So that revolving loan, actually, we started with that revolving loan, and today we are not using a single cent from revolving loan. Today in my mobile, I get every day's update. We have about 150 million USD in hand, about another 15 billion LKR in hand. So this is actually, I always believe that we shouldn't run business with too much of loan. There should be a working capital, the capital mix, as you would have learned. There should be a capital mix. We need to run as much as possible, the less borrowing, and run the business and grow through. Today, I'm happy to say, as a nation, we have sufficient fund to run the company without asking money from Treasury or anyone else. So today we have arrived there. This is the story actually behind the QR. I'm just touching upon these financial matters. QR have been a very successful implementation. Not only here, our minister have been contacted by Bangladesh, Pakistan, to implement in those countries as well. So I think as a nation, I have to thank all Sri Lankans managed to adapt this QR within very, very short period. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I think if you have any question, you may ask me and I will clarify.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Uvais. Brilliant oration. I mean, we have had so many MBA Diary experts coming on board, but I mean, this is a real live example of how, number one is how private-public partnership has to work, which is very, very important. And number two is that how public sector also can be efficient with the correct leadership. A lot of people think that only private sector can work and public sector is not important. They don't know how to work, but this is a classic example of where public sector has performed to solve a problem which is seen in people's eyes rather than only just a rhetoric. Number three, it does also tell us that there's nothing wrong in private sector people saying, I'm shouldering responsibility in the public sector. I mean, I'm sure, your family Uvais would have been very, very conscious not to allow you to go to public sector because you already are in the private sector doing well. But then you said, no, I want to do that. And I yet remember how, your son said that I want you to go and solve this problem, so it was fantastic. So a lot of questions are coming. I'm just going to pick up few of them. The first question coming is that they're asking you, when you studied for your master's program in a university like London Metropolitan, the basic principles which you studied, how useful is it in public sector management?
It actually, your basic qualification is very, very useful. Your academic qualification and professional qualification, I'm a SIMA also. So professional and academic qualification is very, very useful. So what, if not for financial knowledge that I have gained through CIMA and my academic qualification, I wouldn't have known, it would have been a normal operation. In such a complicated operation, risk, now even currency risk at Sri Lanka at that moment, how to mitigate. It was a huge challenge. In that case, if you see in our finance, we have currency risk to be learned, transactional risk, translational risk, economic risk, and all sort of things you have learned, but we never applied. Even in our private business, we would have applied here and there. But this is where the classic example, hedgings come, options, you use tools, you defer payment, delay payment, advance payment to get an advantage. For example, I would say, our interest rate was very high, right? Everybody knows, 25-30%. I managed to speak to some of the suppliers after agreeing to them. We are going to pay within a few days. I speak to them very, very friendlily, bring them to my office, sit together and speak to them, and humbly requested them to postpone the payment by 1 month. 1 month of 1 billion, for example, you are talking about 100 billion rupee deferment will earn huge amount of interest into my company. Then I came up with the different strategies. Now, for example, I told my team we have to run data driven. It should be a data driven operation. And now, for example, current our energy mix, when it comes to power generation, they use a lot of furnace oil, the fuel oil. So in that case also, we identified where to buy fuel, whether running refineries profitable or buying out is profitable. If we are refining, what are the crude, for example, what type of crude you need to bring in, at what time? For example, in certain period of time, we buy more furnace oil. So in that period, all these days, we used to buy one type of crude. I said, no, you bring another type of crude where we can produce more furnace. So that furnace alone importation cost will come down. So these are the strategies that because of why I learned, the processes, we came up with SOP. We learn a lot from ERP. I actually, in fact, from ERP also, best business practices in building into the system, putting into a system was one of the key challenges. Actually, I might have it in my WhatsApp. I will show you now. And we became one of the best innovative company, CPC. No one believed to come up with something called modality. When I wanted to bring down fuel, we never had sufficient fund. What we did was, we came up with something called X-storage modality. X-storage. That means you bring the fuel to Sri Lanka, you use my storage and store it. What I will pledge, I will mortgage the fuel to you, bonded warehousing facility. When I want to buy, I want to use it, I pay and buy. With that, when Sri Lanka was struggling to bring $1, we managed to bring almost 200 million worth of fuel into this country without paying a single cent. Whereas suppliers, when I started, their suppliers don't want to come. Eventually, we managed 200 million worth of stock without paying a cent. Even government couldn't do it at that moment. So that is because of innovation and what you learn. You learn, and how you present yourself. Actually, marketing comes to, marketing was a great help. We present ourselves. Every presentation, before I speak to supplier, I manage to, I speak to my team. This is how we are going to talk about it. Because our company also had some officials, very rigid. Red tape, government organization has red tape. So they have been bound by the procedures and policies. They don't want to bend it a little bit for the benefit of the company. So in that type of a environment, it was very, very difficult. Your humbleness, you have to have knowledge, but you have to be very humble. very cool and calm when under that type of pressure. So we managed to pull through. Learning and become actually financial learning was very, very useful. In the meantime, operation and how to manage people. We had, Sri Lanka's most powerful union is in Petroleum Corporation. You would have known that. Most powerful union is in Petroleum Corporation. Every time union used to come and, surround us, thousands of people. So I have a video. I am talking to them also, told them, look here, you can surround us, but we won't get a solution. We want to get a solution. For example, for 3 months, our refinery was closed down without proper sufficient supply of crude oil. But we managed to speak to suppliers. We came up with this modality. I lined up almost 9 shipments, and then we started our refinery, which was opening and closing, opening and closing. Now, since then, for last year or so, almost about 7-8 months, we are keep on running the refinery without any hitches, and we will be closing for a small maintenance work. Other than that, it will be continuing. That is all we learn from these MBAs, this degree and CIMA. These are very, very helpful. But whatever you learn, you have to be, like I learned from Mr. Rohanta, very humble and very, very, very positive personality. It will become very handy. Sri Lanka has sufficient enough and more qualified people, but our attitude, we are not actually, some of the suppliers during the crisis time helped us enormously, but unfortunately, we can't help them back because of our rules and regulation, because of our attitude. Even Pakistani, we met with one of the Pakistani ambassadors. He said, when Sri Lanka was in difficulty, we are the country who used to come and support you all. But in UN, you all voted against us. You see, we have to be grateful as you can learn, you can earn, you can get to any position. As a nation, Sri Lankans need to be more grateful to people so that Sri Lanka will get where we're supposed to be,
There's a question coming up, which is that, I mean, you've been successful in working for a company like Expo Lanka, and now, of course, you have taken on a position which is 3 or 4 times the size of, or maybe even 100 times the size of Expo Lanka, which is one of the big companies in Sri Lanka. So where are you going to go next? What's your next challenge?
Yes, there was a question from Mr. Aruna. He was asking why the ship was in harbor without discharging. This is one of the classic, very good question. Basically, Aruna, this is a reason where we'll say for shipment is about 35 million USD. We never had sufficient fund. So we, based on our requirement, we order the ship. Then ship will come and stay. We need to pay demurrages every day. For example, if it is a crude shipment, 90,000 USD per day. If it is other shipment, 52,000 USD per day. Because of that only, we came up with storage modality. Since then, I have not paid a single cent of demurrages. We have charged a lot of delay penalties. So a country is benefiting hugely. These are the areas that somebody want to play and play out the nation. They delay the demurrages will be paid and demurrages will be shared among everybody. But since we introduced this system, we never have paid single cent of demurrage. So that is one of the reason. Without sufficient fund, we have ordered the fuel. We can't afford to not to order, even if we know that we don't have sufficient fund. We think that government will give, bank will give us a loan, because if we don't order on time, there won't be a shipment, because shipment to sale, we need to give at least 7 days, minimum 7 days. So shipment to be booked, we have to give minimum 1 month to 45 days, so that we pre-plan and order. But unfortunately, by the time sale it get to Colombo, we may not have sufficient fund, and those suppliers was not confident of us Petroleum Corporation, they were reluctant to discharge. But now that problem is solved, and you would have seen for recent 6 or 7 months, we never paid any demurrages. So my next ambition, doctor's question, being a simple, I don't have big ambition as such. I am a very simple, and I love to be in Sri Lanka as much as possible. But it's coming calling from all the abroad, and about 5-6 times the salary for same positions. I'm very reluctant to go, and I hope that country will get back to its normal route, and this country will be a country where all Sri Lankans want to live back, will come back and live here. That is my only ambition. Whatever I can do as a businessman, as a administrator, or as a whatever it is I'm going to become, I will do my level best to make sure this country is, what we call it, paradise. We have to make it paradise, inshallah. That is my only hope. And wanted to, I want to study a little more, and I have now MBA, and now I want to do a small leadership course at Harvard, and I applied for it if I had to find some time. So then learn, and then to try to contribute to society. I try to go and speak to some small schools, and whatever we can contribute. But in the meantime, I want to do my business very well. You are to be successful. If you want to preach success, you have to be successful. So we need to be an example. So I do many business, Dr. knows. So I try to take my business into next level. Now, for example, I'm doing a small business, tiles. So we can't the gigantic players like Mac Tiles, Rosell, Lanka Tiles are there. But I have come up with some innovative solution, whereas you can bring your house structure and show it to us. We will design the tiles, we will design your stuff, and try to be more innovative, so that no one can afford to give at the moment. So that specialized customer service, care, and being with customer, go through with them, digitize studio, so that they will see, and they will be like, we are not going to sell one product, we are going to sell any product. As far as customer is satisfied, we are going to give solutions, so that we're trying to differentiate us from the others. This is what we should do, and that is one of our plan, to do business, more business.
Well, what is your advice to a youngster who is studying for the masters? We know that things are very challenging, in terms of cost of living going up, and the kinds of consumption and the personal care as well as grocery items are coming down as per the latest Nielsen study. So in that background, what is your advice to a youngster? Because in today's class that you're teaching right now, you're talking to, there are people from all the companies, top apparel companies, top IT companies, people who are in the telcos, whom you also mentioned. They're all part of this your audience today. Some are in the class here, some are on Facebook. So what is your advice to a youngster, Uvais?
Youngsters, I would suggest, everybody are different. There is no defined clear path to success. If you take Dr. Rohanta's path to success is differ from mine. But be honest, truthful, and humble. You can gain the best of the knowledge in the world, go to the best of the universities in the world, but it is all about your hard work when it comes to succeeding in whatever the areas you are doing. Even an MBA, we also have gone through MBA, then most of you all might be working, and most of your disposable income would have become drastically smaller. It have been thin because of, we all know our country went on a huge inflation, cost of living have become very high. Fuel price, if you buy fuel 1.5 years ago, same liter fuel was 150, today 325, 61. So this is how it is now evolved, but this is a challenging time for any country, any people, anybody for that matter, any businessman for that matter. And even the rich to the poor are suffering. The poorest of poor are suffering the most. As per the UN data, almost 20% of the countries, 20 to 25% of the countries, poor people are eating twice a day. So a very sad situation. As a youngster, I would say you have to be dedicated yourself for they work really hard. Hard working, there is no, my father used to say, there is no substitute to hard work. You can be whatever you want to be if you really work hard. I would suggest you to work hard, think clear, try to do something to, I won't say anybody to not to go out of the country because different people's circumstances are different. But as much as possible, do something to do our country. We can point finger at this person because of these people only we are suffering, because of the other person is we are suffering. But if you see, everyone has given a chance. Everyone has given a chance. Everyone falling into the same trap and doing the same thing. So it's something wrong with people, not with the leaders. We in Islam I'm a Muslim, so in Islam very clearly says in Quran, leaders are reflection of people. Leaders are reflection of people. So I think as students, you all are leaders, future leaders, like, whatever the position that you all are taking, you all are going to be a leaders. Be exemplary. There will be very difficult in certain circumstances. Working is very difficult, but either you have a choice, give up, or go and pursue and do it. So I think pursue and do it. There is no clear guidance. I can't say this is how you can be successful, but you see the circumstances that you are in, work through, you will come across a situation where you are blocked. Then you sort to experience, exposed, honest person, so that they will give you some guidance, but still decision should be made by you. Others can give you ideas, solutions, and advice, but decision, you got to do it. So you have to do it. That is what important.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, the chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation, a person when you listen, you see the kind of caliber that has come through of Sri Lankan talent, studied abroad, come to serve the country, and how they solve problems to give leadership in difficult times. And I think it's been a fantastic 1 hour we spent. Sir, thank you so much for making some time for the youngster. I know you're a very busy person. I know you came directly from a procurement meeting to be in time to come and talk to the team here. I wish Sri Lanka has more people like you, and I know that Sri Lanka will definitely turn around. Ruth, over to you.
Indeed, Dr. Hunt, I completely agree with you. Mr. Mohamed, as you are truly, it goes without saying you are a busy person, indeed. And you took the time to come to talk to our students, to address them. And you have shared truly an insightful session with us today, especially with everything that was happening last year during these unprecedented times. You came and it was like giving the behind the scenes per se of the situation. So once again, a heartfelt thank you from everyone here who has joined in. And before we wrap up, I'd like to remind our industry partners connected that at APIT, we have an intensive internship program. So if you do have any vacancies, do send it our way. And if you're looking to upskill, do check out our website or call in for any inquiries for your MBA or even your MSc programs. So with this, I would like to thank all our students on the platform, our audience on Facebook, and most of all, our IT team for the technical support extended during the session. So with this, I would like to wish everyone a good day, a good afternoon, and a good evening from wherever you're joining in. Till the next session, take care.